I made $1 million in just 40 minutes. That's what Dallas influencer Ashley Grayson told her 64,000 Instagram followers. She was living the dream, posting about luxury cars, designer bags, and her 8-figure business, teaching other people how to get rich online. But behind the curated feed and motivational quotes, Ashley Grayson was dealing with something every influencer faces: haters, online critics, people questioning whether her success was real, business rivals calling her out. Most influencers ignore the hate, block the trolls, maybe clap back with a sassy quote. But Ashley Grayson, she decided to hire someone to murder them. This is the story of how a 35-year-old business coach and self-proclaimed philanthropist went from selling online courses to federal court. How an Instagram feud turned into a murder-for-hire conspiracy, and how video recordings, DMs, and surveillance footage brought down her entire empire. Because what Ashley didn't know was that the couple she hired to kill 3 people, including her biggest business rival, weren't actually killers at all. They were recording everything. And when they brought those recordings to the authorities, Ashley's carefully crafted influencer persona collapsed in the most public way possible. This is a 21st century crime story where online beefs become real-world violence, where Instagram success meets federal prison, where clout means nothing when the FBI has you on tape. This is how Ashley Grayson thought haters were just noise, until the feds spoke, and she got the maximum sentence: 10 years in federal prison. To understand how this happened, you need to understand the world Ashley Grayson lived in. The world of online business coaches, digital courses, and Instagram entrepreneurship. In the late 2010s and early 2020s, a new type of influencer emerged in social media. They weren't beauty gurus or fitness models. They were business coaches. People who claimed they could teach you how to make money online by creating and selling your own digital products. The pitch was always the same: I made millions from my laptop, and I can teach you to do it too. Just buy my course. And Ashley Grayson positioned herself right at the center of this movement. She described herself on Instagram as a bestseller, 8-figure business coach, course creator, and philanthropist. Her bio proudly stated she ran an 8-figure business, and she wasn't shy about showing off the lifestyle that allegedly came with it. Luxury cars in her driveway, designer shopping halls, a beautiful home in Dallas, Texas, pictures with stacks of cash, inspirational quotes about manifesting wealth and building empires. Her business model was simple, but incredibly effective. She sold online courses teaching other people how to create and sell online courses. Meta, right? You pay her to learn how to do what she does, which is getting people to pay her. And according to Ashley, it worked spectacularly well. She claimed she made $1 million in just 40 minutes with one course launch. She said she built an 8-figure business from scratch. She portrayed herself as living proof that anyone could achieve financial freedom if they just learned her system. Ashley presented herself as a success story, someone who had cracked the code and wanted to help others do the same. Her courses promised to teach ordinary people how to turn their skills and passions into profitable online businesses. For people struggling with traditional jobs, drowning in debt, or just wanting more out of life, Ashley's message was intoxicating. She wasn't just selling courses, she was selling hope, a dream, a lifestyle, and thousands of people bought in. But there was a problem that started quietly, then grew louder, and eventually became something Ashley couldn't ignore no matter how many inspirational quotes she posted. People started questioning whether Ashley's success was real. In 2021, allegations began circulating online that Ashley's wealth wasn't from her online courses at all. According to critics, the real source of her money was a workers' compensation settlement she'd received after losing a finger at her old job. Others accused her of exaggerating her income, saying the 8-figure business was more fiction than fact. Some customers who bought her courses claimed they didn't get the value they paid for. One woman publicly accused Ashley of essentially scamming her out of $2,000. And then there was the competition, because Ashley wasn't the only business coach selling courses about how to sell courses. There were dozens, maybe hundreds of them, all competing for the same audience, all claiming to have the secret formula for success. One of those competitors was a woman from South Haven, Mississippi, who ran an online business very similar to Ashley's. Let's call her DH, because that's how she was identified in federal court documents. Ashley and DH had a falling out in 2021. The two women had never met in prison, but in the tight-knit world of online business coaching, they were aware of each other. They were rivals in the same space, competing for the same customers. Ashley became convinced that DH was behind fake social media profiles that were criticizing her business and questioning her credibility. She believed DH was orchestrating a campaign to damage her reputation and steal her customers. Whether this was true or just Ashley's paranoia, we may never know. But what we do know is that by 2022, Ashley Grayson had decided that online drama and public responses weren't enough. She wanted DH gone, not just blocked, not just exposed, dead. And she had a plan to make it happen. In August 2022, Ashley Grayson reached out to a woman she had worked with in the past. This woman, who we'll call Olivia Johnson based on court documents, lived in Memphis, Tennessee. Ashley told Olivia she wanted to discuss a business opportunity and invited her to fly to Dallas. This wasn't unusual. Influencers and business coaches often meet to discuss collaborations, joint ventures, or partnership opportunities. Olivia agreed. In early September 2022, she and her husband flew from Memphis to Dallas to meet with Ashley. But when they arrived at Ashley's home and sat down to talk, they quickly realized this wasn't the kind of business opportunity they expected. Ashley didn't want to talk about creating a course together. She didn't want to discuss affiliate marketing or social media strategies. She wanted to hire them to commit murder. Not one murder, 3 murders. According to federal prosecutors, Ashley laid out her plan to the Memphis couple. She offered them $20,000 per killing, a total of $60,000 to eliminate 3 people from her life. Target number 1, DH, the Mississippi woman Ashley suspected of creating fake profiles to criticize her business. This was the main target, the one Ashley was most obsessed with. Target number 2 was Ashley's ex-boyfriend. The reasons for this are unclear from court documents, but Ashley apparently wanted him dead too. Target number 3, a Texas woman who had recently made negative social media posts about Ashley. Someone who was criticizing her online, questioning her authenticity, calling out her business practices. Think about that for a moment. 3 human lives, 3 people Ashley wanted dead. And the reasons? Business rivalry, past relationships, social media criticism. This was the ultimate response to online hate, not a clapback, not a legal takedown, murder. Ashley allegedly told the Memphis couple she wanted these people gone. She offered to pay them in cash. She said she needed this done discreetly, no connections back to her. Now put yourself in Olivia Johnson's position. You fly to Dallas thinking you're going to discuss a legitimate business deal, and instead someone offers you $60,000 to commit triple homicide. What do? Olivia and her husband pretended to go along with it. They told Ashley they'd do it. They shook hands on the deal. They acted like they were serious contract killers who could make these problems disappear. But they had no intention of killing anyone. Instead, they did something brilliant. They started gathering evidence. On September 10th, 2022, just days after the initial meeting in Dallas, Olivia Johnson set up a video call with Ashley Grayson, and she recorded the entire thing. During this recorded call, Ashley confirmed exactly what she wanted. She said she wanted DH, the Mississippi woman, killed as soon as possible. She was so eager for it to happen that she offered an additional $5,000 bonus if the murder could be carried out within the next week. Let that sink in. Ashley was so desperate to eliminate her business rival that she was willing to pay extra for expedited murder service. Kill her this week, and I'll throw in an extra $5,000. Olivia recorded all of this. Ashley's voice, on video, confirming the hit, offering the bonus, expressing her urgency to have someone killed over Instagram drama. This wasn't hearsay. This wasn't speculation. This was evidence. But Olivia and her husband didn't go to the police immediately. Not yet. First, they decided to see if Ashley could actually pay them. Because it's one thing to talk about murder. It's another thing to hand over cash for it. After the recorded phone call, Olivia Johnson and her husband came up with a plan to test whether Ashley Grayson was serious about this murder-for-hire plot. They decided to stage a fake murder attempt. The couple found an unrelated incident in Memphis where police were responding to something completely different. They took a photo of the police lights, the squad cars, the crime scene tape, all of it. Then, they sent that photo to Ashley Grayson. The message was simple. We tried to carry out the job, but something went wrong. Police showed up. We couldn't complete it, but we still need to be paid for attempting it. They demanded $10,000, exactly half of the agreed upon $20,000 for the Mississippi woman. Now, if Ashley had been joking about the entire thing, if this was all just talk, some kind of venting or fantasy she never intended to follow through on, this would have been her moment to back out. She could have said, "What are you talking about? I never seriously wanted you to hurt anyone." She could have realized she was in danger of committing a serious federal crime and cut contact immediately. But that's not what happened. Instead, Ashley Grayson invited Olivia and her husband back to Dallas. In late September 2022, the Memphis couple flew to Texas again. This time, they weren't discussing business opportunities. They were collecting payment for an attempted murder. Ashley and her husband Joshua met with the couple at an apartment complex in Dallas, and according to federal prosecutors, they had cash ready. The meeting was caught on surveillance cameras. The video showed Ashley and Joshua Grayson meeting with Olivia Johnson and her husband. Money was exchanged. Ashley handed over $10,000 in cash. $10,000 for a fake attempted murder for a crime that never happened. This payment proved something crucial. Ashley Grayson wasn't just venting or fantasizing. She was serious. She believed she had hired contract killers. She believed they had actually tried to murder someone on her behalf, and she was willing to pay for it. The single transaction transformed the case from words into actions, from conspiracy to attempted commission, from something that might have been defended as dark humor or misunderstood conversation into clear, documented, undeniable criminal conduct. Ashley Grayson had just paid $10,000 for a murder that never happened. And she had no idea that the people she paid were about to take all their evidence, all their recordings, all their documentation straight to the authorities. So here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because Ashley Grayson wasn't just passively waiting for news that her enemies had been eliminated. She was starting to suspect something wasn't right. According to court documents, around the same time that Olivia Johnson was going to authorities with evidence of the murder-for-hire plot, Ashley Grayson went to the FBI herself. She claimed that the Memphis couple was trying to extort her. Think about the audacity of that move. Ashley had solicited murder. She had paid for it. And when she sensed something was wrong, her strategy was to report her hired killers to the FBI for extortion. It was a bold play. Maybe she thought she could control the narrative, paint herself as the victim, claim the Memphis couple had tried to scam her. But there was one massive problem with that strategy.
Josh back. Josh back.
He's still gone.
Oh. Gary, no, we done already been through there. Through there. There,
That fast?
It's gonna be real easy to get her. It's gonna be real easy. So that's what I was trying to see, like, with the money. Like, did you want us to come out there, like, tomorrow? Or, like, I'm trying to see, because, like...
Well, when y'all gonna do the thing with Derek? Because Josh gonna try to come after y'all do it.
Oh, okay. So Josh didn't want to do the half and half.
Yeah, he gonna do it after it's done. But if y'all can get that done, like, the sooner y'all can get that done, like, the next week and a half, I'll throw an extra $5 on there.
Cool. And, like, you don't want her hurt, and they just want her gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, out of here. Okay. That will put my address up for over 100,000 people to see.
And you know what I was talking about? About the Sherelle stuff. I was like, we need to leave her completely alone. Because there's too many eyes on her. There's too many eyes on her.
Josh said that earlier. Josh said she got too many eyes on her.
And then the TikTok thing, because I was like, damn, it's just her right now. But if something happened to her, it's going to be in front of everybody.
And then they're gonna be like, all of a sudden she's making all these and blah blah blah. Josh said this morning, he said it's too many eyes on that girl right now. I said, well, it's not gonna die down. And he was like, well, it's just too many eyes on that girl right now. He was like, we don't need to be involved in that. And he's like, oh, let's think and get somebody else to do it. And he was talking about you and Brandon too. And he was like, he think he got him a friend or whatever with Brandon. And he was like, I didn't even know. He said Brandon said he already had the 2 felonies. So Josh was saying if he get one more, he gonna be gone. So he was like, risk Brandon get another felony and then he be gone for life because that'd be his 3rd one. So he was like, he don't want none of us involved in it. And I said, we make you feel like a bad friend because I wasn't thinking it all at all.
Man, what?
I love my friend too. I just wasn't thinking it all the way through.
Mind, I think about everything.
You got a good point though. He was like, yeah, I really think somebody won't care about somebody like, we don't want nobody to do it that's gonna get locked up, but especially not nobody that we know personally. Or that we don't like care. But then the thing about that, if you don't know them personally, then you can't.
Olivia Johnson had video evidence of Ashley Grayson explicitly asking for someone to be murdered and offering to pay extra for quick service. Ashley had no idea how thoroughly she had been recorded. She didn't know that every conversation, every phone call, every detail of the plot had been documented. She thought she was playing chess, but the FBI had already seen all her moves. When Olivia Johnson and her husband came forward with their evidence in late 2022, the FBI took the case very seriously. This wasn't some random accusation. They had video recordings of Ashley Grayson discussing the murders. They had audio of her offering bonus money for expedited killing. They had surveillance footage of cash being exchanged. They had the $10,000 payment itself, which could be traced. The evidence was overwhelming, but federal investigators are thorough. They don't just take evidence at face value and immediately make arrests. They verify, they corroborate, they build an airtight case. The FBI interviewed witnesses, including the intended victim, DH from Mississippi. They examined Ashley Grayson's financial records to trace the $10,000 payment. They analyzed the recorded video calls to verify their authenticity. They reviewed surveillance footage from the Dallas apartment complex where the money exchange occurred. They also investigated whether anyone had actually been harmed. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The entire plot had been fake from the beginning, with Olivia Johnson playing along just long enough to gather evidence. But the FBI also had to determine whether Joshua Grayson, Ashley's husband, was equally culpable. He had been present at both the initial meeting and the payment exchange. He had been involved in handing over the $10,000. By July 2023, about 10 months after the initial meeting in Dallas, a grand jury in the Western District of Tennessee returned an indictment. Both Ashley Grayson and Joshua Grayson were charged with use of interstate facility in commission of murder for hire, a violation of federal law. This is an important change to understand. It's not just conspiracy to commit murder, which would be a state crime. This is a federal charge because Ashley used interstate facilities, phone calls, flights, communication across state lines to plan and pay for the murders. Anytime you cross state lines to commit a crime, anytime you use telecommunications or interstate commerce to facilitate a crime, you've entered federal jurisdiction, and federal crimes come with federal consequences. No parole, lengthy mandatory minimums, and trials in federal court, where conviction rates are notoriously high. Ashley and Joshua Grayson were arrested and released on bond while awaiting trial. And this is where Ashley's carefully constructed influencer image started to publicly crumble. The indictment became public record. News outlets started reporting on the story. The Dallas business coach with 64,000 Instagram followers was now infamous for something much darker than selling online courses. Her Instagram account, which once showed luxury cars and motivational quotes, became evidence. Screenshots of her posts were analyzed. Her claims about making millions were scrutinized. Everything she had built online was now being viewed through a completely different lens. The influencer community was shocked. People who had bought her courses, followed her for inspiration, or even collaborated with her couldn't believe it. Some defended her, claiming it must be a misunderstanding or a setup. Others said they always suspected something was off. Meanwhile, Ashley and her legal team prepared for trial. Her husband Joshua hired his own attorney. Both pleaded not guilty. Their defense strategy would become clear at trial. Claim the video evidence was edited, manipulated, or taken out of context. Argue that Ashley never literally said kill or murder on the recordings. Suggest that Olivia Johnson was the real criminal trying to extort money from a successful businesswoman. But there was a problem with this defense. The FBI had the original, unedited recordings. They had multiple pieces of corroborating evidence. They had witnesses, and they had that surveillance video of $10,000 changing hands. In March 2024, the case went to trial in Memphis, Tennessee. It lasted 1 week, 7 days of testimony, evidence presentation, and witness examination. And at the end of that week, the jury delivered their verdict. The trial of Ashley Grayson versus the United States of America began on March 25, 2024 in federal court in Memphis. 12 jurors and 2 alternates were selected. Both Ashley and Joshua Grayson were present, both out on bond, both dressed professionally and trying to look like anything other than people accused of hiring contract killers. The prosecution's case was straightforward and devastating. They opened with Olivia Johnson's testimony. She walked the jury through everything. The initial meeting in Dallas, Ashley's offer of $60,000 to kill 3 people, the specific targets, the payment structure. Then came the recordings. The jury heard Ashley Grayson's voice on a video call recorded on September 10, 2022. In this call, Ashley confirmed she wanted DH killed as soon as possible. She offered an extra $5,000 for the murder to happen within a week. The prosecution played this recording in court. Ashley's own words captured on video expressing her desire for someone to be gone. Now, Ashley's defense attorney tried to argue that she never explicitly used the words kill or murder. They claimed the language was ambiguous. Maybe she just wanted DH to go away in some metaphorical sense, like leave the online business space or stop criticizing her. But the prosecution demolished this argument. They pointed to the context. Why offer $20,000 to make someone metaphorically go away? Why pay $10,000 for a supposed attempt? Why meet in secret with people you believe are contract killers if you're just looking for some kind of business solution? The surveillance footage from the Dallas apartment complex was shown to the jury. There were Ashley and Joshua Grayson meeting with Olivia Johnson and her husband, exchanging money. The prosecution presented financial records showing the source of the $10,000. They demonstrated that Ashley had the means and the intent to follow through with the plot. They called DH, the Mississippi woman who was the primary target, to testify about her online business rivalry with Ashley and the fear she felt when she learned someone had tried to have her killed. The defense's counter-arguments fell flat. Ashley's attorneys tried to paint Olivia Johnson as an opportunist, someone who invented or exaggerated the murder-for-hire plot to extort money from a successful influencer. But this theory didn't explain why Olivia went to the FBI instead of continuing to collect money from Ashley. If her goal was extortion, why involve law enforcement? They argued the videos might have been edited or manipulated, but the FBI's forensic analysis confirmed the recordings were authentic and unaltered. They suggested Ashley was just venting, letting off steam about people who were attacking her online, and that her words were never meant to be taken literally. But the $10,000 payment suggested otherwise. The prosecution's closing argument was simple. Ashley Grayson tried to use murder to solve online trauma. She wanted her business rival dead because of Instagram posts. She was willing to pay $60,000 to have 3 people killed. And when she thought the job had been attempted, she paid $10,000 as partial payment. This is murder for hire. This is a federal crime, and the evidence is overwhelming. After closing arguments, the jury deliberated. For Joshua Grayson, the jury found there wasn't enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he had knowingly participated in the murder-for-hire plot. Yes, he had been present at meetings. Yes, he had been involved in handing over money, but the prosecution couldn't definitively prove he understood what the money was for, or that he had the same criminal intent as his wife. Joshua Grayson was acquitted of all charges. He walked out of that courtroom a free man. But for Ashley Grayson, the verdict was very different. Guilty. Guilty of use of interstate facility in commission of murder for hire. The jury had heard the evidence, seen the videos, examined the financial records, and concluded that Ashley Grayson had absolutely tried to hire someone to commit murder. The woman who once posted motivational quotes about manifestation and success had just been convicted of a federal crime that carried a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. And in federal court, there's no parole. Every day of your sentence is a day you serve. Ashley Grayson's influencer career was over. Her Instagram empire was finished. Her 8-figure business was destroyed. All that remained was sentencing. So how did Ashley Grayson go from successful influencer to convicted felon? What made her think she could get away with this? To understand the psychology behind this case, you need to understand something about how online success can distort reality. Ashley Grayson had built her entire identity around being a winner. She was the 8-figure business coach, the course creator who made $1 million in 40 minutes, the philanthropist, the success story. Her brand was built on the idea that she was smarter than everyone else, that she had figured out secrets to success that others hadn't. She was the mentor, the expert, the one who had it all figured out. And when critics emerged, when rivals challenged her, when people questioned whether her success was real, it threatened the entire foundation of her identity. In the regular world, when someone criticizes your business or questions your credentials, you have legal options. You can sue for defamation like Ashley actually did against one critic in 2022. You can issue cease and desist letters. You can respond publicly. You can ignore it. But for Ashley, none of those options were enough. She had already filed a defamation lawsuit against a woman named Derica Harwell, claiming that a Facebook comment permanently damaged her reputation. But lawsuits are slow, expensive, and uncertain. They keep the drama alive. They give critics more ammunition. Ashley wanted a permanent solution. She wanted her problems to disappear completely and immediately. And in her mind, apparently, murder seemed like a viable option. This is where the psychology gets really dark. Ashley had become so disconnected from reality, so consumed with protecting her online image that she lost sight of basic moral and legal boundaries. But there's another twist to this story that makes it even more bizarre. Ashley's husband, Joshua, claimed after the trial that his wife was framed, that the video evidence was edited, and that they were set up. In Facebook posts following the conviction, Joshua Grayson argued that Ashley never said kill or die on the recordings. He offered $500,000 to anyone who could show him a video of Ashley explicitly saying she wanted someone murdered. This is a classic deflection strategy. Focus on the exact words used while ignoring the obvious context and intent. But here's why this defense doesn't work. The jury heard all the evidence, including the full unedited recordings, and they unanimously concluded Ashley was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Moreover, the $10,000 payment is damning regardless of the exact words used. You don't pay $10,000 for a fake attempted murder unless you believe you were paying for an actual attempted murder. The defense also struggled with explaining why Ashley went to the FBI claiming extortion. If the Memphis couple was trying to frame her, why would they go to law enforcement with evidence? Why not just keep collecting money through extortion? The timeline doesn't support Ashley's version of events. The evidence is clear. The conviction is justified. But in the months between her conviction in March 2024 and her sentencing in October 2024, Ashley and her supporters continued to claim she was innocent, framed, set up by jealous competitors. They claimed the victim, DH from Mississippi, was playing the victim. They said the Memphis couple were the real criminals. They argued that black people were being unfairly targeted, bringing race into a case that had nothing to do with it. It was a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative, to reclaim some control over a story that had completely escaped Ashley's control. But none of it mattered, because in federal court, evidence matters more than Instagram posts. Truth matters more than personal branding, and juries don't care about your follower count. Ashley Grayson was going to be sentenced for her crime, and the question was, how long would she spend in federal prison? On October 31st, 2024, Halloween, Ashley Grayson appeared before United States District Court Judge Thomas L. Parker for sentencing. This was her final chance to show remorse, to explain herself, to perhaps convince the judge that she deserved leniency. The maximum sentence for use of interstate facility in commission of murder for hire is 120 months, 10 years in federal prison. The minimum is 0, meaning the judge had complete discretion to sentence her anywhere from probation to the maximum. The prosecution argued for the maximum sentence. They pointed out that Ashley had targeted 3 people for murder over online drama and business competition. She had shown no genuine remorse, even after her conviction. She and her supporters continued to claim she was innocent and had been set up. They emphasized that while fortunately no one was physically harmed, the intended victim, DH, and her family suffered severe emotional trauma, knowing someone had tried to have them killed. The prosecution argued that Ashley represented a danger to society. She had shown she was willing to use violence to solve disputes. She needed to be incapacitated through imprisonment to protect the public. DH, the Mississippi woman who was the primary target, likely provided a victim impact statement, though the details aren't public. One can imagine the terror of learning that someone you'd never met in person wanted you dead over Instagram posts. The fear for your safety and your family's safety. The lasting psychological impact. Ashley's defense attorneys argued for leniency. They likely pointed to her lack of prior criminal record, her family responsibilities, her role in the community. They may have argued that she never actually intended for anyone to be hurt, that this was a momentary lapse in judgment, driven by stress and online harassment. But Judge Thomas L. Parker wasn't convinced. On October 31, 2024, Judge Parker sentenced Ashley Grayson to 120 months in federal prison, the absolute maximum sentence allowed by law. 10 years. Plus 3 years of supervised release after she gets out, meaning even after serving her full sentence, she'll be monitored by federal probation officers for an additional 3 years. And because this is a federal sentence, there's no parole. Ashley will serve approximately 85% of her sentence at minimum, meaning she'll spend at least 8.5 years behind bars. Judge Parker's reasoning was clear in the court record. This was a serious crime. Ashley had tried to have 3 people murdered over internet disputes. The fact that the murders didn't actually occur was only because the people she tried to hire were decent human beings who went to law enforcement instead of committing homicide. Acting U.S. Attorney Reagan Fondren released a statement after sentencing. This was a 21st century crime where online feuds and senseless rivalries bled into the real world. The defendant tried to hire someone to murder a woman over things that happened exclusively on the internet. Fortunately, no one was physically hurt in this case, but the victim and her family still felt a severe and emotional impact as the result of the defendant's actions. The phrase 21st century crime perfectly captures this case. This couldn't have happened 30 years ago. There was no Instagram in 1995, no online business coaches, no influencer rivalries that spiraled into murder-for-hire plots. This is a crime born entirely from social media culture, where online personas become so important that people are willing to commit violence to protect them. Ashley Grayson, who once posted about manifestation and creating your dream life, will now spend the next decade in a federal prison cell. Her Instagram account, at @itsashley_Grayson, still exists as of this recording, frozen in time, showing posts from before her arrest. The bio still reads, 8-figure business coach, course creator, philanthropist, I do not check or send DMs. The last line, I do not check or send DMs, is darkly ironic now. If only she had applied that same energy to not sending murder solicitations. Ashley's sentencing was delayed multiple times between March and October 2024, allegedly due to her attorneys filing motions and appeals, but ultimately none of it worked. She currently is in federal custody serving her sentence. Her location is likely in a federal correctional institution somewhere in the United States, though exact details aren't always public. Her release date, assuming she serves her full sentence with good behavior, could be sometime around 2034. She'll be 45 years old. 10 years of her life gone because she couldn't handle online criticism. So what can we learn from the spectacular downfall of Ashley Grayson? First and most obviously, online beefs are not worth committing federal crimes over. This should be self-evident, but apparently it needs to be said. No amount of social media criticism, no business rivalry, no negative comments justify violence. Ever. Ashley Grayson's entire life was destroyed because she couldn't accept that people online didn't like her. She had options, legal options, ethical options. She could have blocked critics, ignored them, responded professionally, let her success speak for itself. Instead, she chose murder, and now she's in federal prison. Second, the influencer economy creates dangerous incentives and psychology. When your entire income and identity depend on maintaining a perfect online image, criticism becomes existential. It's not just annoying, it's threatening your livelihood. Ashley had built her business on claims of being an 8-figure success story. If people believed she was a fraud, her courses wouldn't sell. Her influence would evaporate. Her income would disappear. So when critics and rivals questioned her authenticity, they weren't just being mean on the internet. They were, in Ashley's mind, trying to destroy her business and her life. This doesn't excuse what she did. Not at all. But it helps explain the twisted logic that led her there. The influencer economy rewards people who can project confidence and success, whether or not that success is real. It creates pressure to maintain an image at all costs. And for some people like Ashley Grayson, that pressure leads to catastrophic decision-making. Third, there's an important lesson here about trust and betrayal. Ashley thought she was hiring contract killers. She trusted Olivia Johnson, someone she had worked with before, enough to reveal her darkest intentions. But Olivia and her husband made the right choice. They could have walked away and ignored the whole thing. They could have kept taking Ashley's money through fake attempts. Instead, they recorded everything and went to the FBI, potentially saving 3 lives. This is what good people do when confronted with evil plans. They don't enable them. They don't profit from them. They stop them. Fourth, the legal system worked in this case. The FBI investigated thoroughly. The evidence was presented fairly. The jury deliberated carefully. Ashley got a defense attorney and a fair trial. And when convicted, she received the maximum sentence, sending a clear message that this type of crime won't be tolerated. Some might argue 10 years is too harsh for a crime where no one was actually hurt. Others might say it's not harsh enough, that attempting to have 3 people murdered deserves even more time. But the sentence reflects the seriousness of the crime and the need to deter others from similar conduct. Fifth, this case reveals something troubling about online business coaching culture. How many other 8-figure business coaches are exaggerating their success? How many are selling dreams that they themselves haven't achieved? Ashley's case drew attention to the questionable claims many online coaches make. The $1 million in 40 minutes claims, the luxury lifestyle posts that may be rented or financed, the testimonials that might be fake or cherry-picked. None of this justifies what Ashley did, but it does suggest the need for more transparency and accountability in the online coaching industry. Sixth, social media feuds can escalate faster and farther than people realize. What starts as competitive business tension can quickly spiral into accusations, defamation lawsuits, and apparently murder for hire plots. The distance and anonymity of the internet makes it easy to dehumanize rivals. Ashley and DH never met in person. Their entire conflict existed in the digital world. But Ashley's response was to seek real-world violence. This escalation from online drama to offline crime is something we're seeing more frequently. Road rage cases that start with a social media post, swatting incidents where online gamers call armed police to rivals' homes, murder plots hatched in DMs. The line between digital and physical reality is blurring, and the consequences can be deadly. Finally, there's a lesson here about consequences and accountability. For years, Ashley Grayson had apparently faced few consequences for her actions. She made claims about her income that couldn't be verified. She sold courses that some customers said didn't deliver value. She built an empire on questionable foundations. And for a while it worked. She got the followers, the money, the lifestyle. She became successful not because she had legitimate business acumen, but because she was good at projecting an image of success. But eventually consequences catch up. Not always through the legal system, but in this case, absolutely through the legal system. Ashley Grayson is now an inmate at a federal correctional institution. Her Instagram empire is dead. Her online courses are worthless. Her reputation is destroyed. Her freedom is gone for the next decade, all because she thought she could silence her critics through violence instead of addressing them through legitimate means. The influencer who once told her followers how to manifest their dreams is now manifesting a very different reality. Federal prison, public disgrace, and the permanent label of convicted felon. As for the victims in this case, DH and the others targeted by Ashley's plot, they're hopefully moving forward with their lives, grateful that Olivia Johnson and her husband made the right choice, and that the FBI stopped this plot before anyone was hurt. The online business coaching world continues, with new faces promising to teach you how to make millions from your laptop. Some are legitimate, some are questionable, and hopefully, none of them will follow in Ashley Grayson's footsteps. Because if there's one final lesson from this case, it's this: the FBI doesn't care about your follower count. The justice system doesn't care about your Instagram aesthetics, and federal prison doesn't have filters. Ashley Grayson thought haters were just noise, something she could tune out or eliminate. But when the Fed spoke, she learned that some problems can't be solved with inspirational quotes or online courses. They can only be solved with accountability, consequences, and a decade behind bars. Thanks for watching this deep dive into one of the most shocking influencer crimes in recent history. If you found this story as wild as we did, make sure to like and subscribe and share. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about Ashley Grayson's sentence? Was 10 years fair, too harsh, or not harsh enough? And remember, no matter how bad the online drama gets, no matter how much the haters come for you, violence is never the answer. Block, ignore, or respond legally. But never ever try to hire someone to commit murder. Because unlike Instagram, the FBI keeps receipts that can't be deleted.